All right, today we're going to look at a method for adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, and it involves 4 steps. Okay, and here we have a fraction. A represents any variable, and C, of course, is a different number, so that's a fraction with a numerator denominator. Could be any number. And here we have B and D, and again, B could be any number, as could D, but one thing we notice is that C and D are not the same number, so we have an unlike or uncommon denominator. So how would we add these together? Well, 4 steps. Number 1, multiply the denominators together. C times D will give us our new denominator. Step 2, cross multiply the numerators. So A times D, C times B. A times D, B times C. Step 3, add or subtract. In this case it says add, so I'm going to take that answer I got up here for A times D and add it to what I got for B times C. And here's the 4th step that is sometimes important. If we are asked to give it in its simplest terms, we may have to reduce our answer in order to get it correct. So 4 steps. Multiply the denominators, cross multiply the numerators, add or subtract the numerators, and reduce if needed. Okay, so here's what that looks like. Step 1, we're adding a 4th and a 3rd. Step 1, multiply the denominators. 4 times 3 is 12. Step 2, cross multiply the numerators. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 1 is 4. Step 3, add the numerators. In this case we're adding because it tells us to add. If we were told to subtract, we would subtract. 3 plus 4 is 7. And reduce if needed. 7/12 does not reduce. Let's do another one, this time subtraction. Okay, step 1, multiply the denominators. 15, 3 times 5 is 15. Step 2, cross multiply the numerator and denominator that are opposite one another. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 1 is 3. Step 3, add or subtract the numerators. In this case we're subtracting. 10 minus 3 is 7. And step 4, reduce if needed. Again, 7/15 is in its lowest form, so that is our final answer. Okay, let's look at 2 more. And again, just following the steps. Step number 1, multiply the denominators. 2 times 4 is 8. Cross multiply the numerators. 4 times 1 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. And as long as I'm putting them up here, it doesn't matter what order I'm doing it in. If I were just writing the problem below, if it were subtraction, I got to remember that this goes first. The first numerator would be the first one I write down. So 2 plus 4 is 6. Add the numerators together. That was step 3. And then step 4 is reduce if needed. Now look at this one. I have an even number here and here, so I know I can at least divide both of those by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And now I have it in its lowest form. Okay, so in this one, I had to follow through with step 4. One last problem. 6 times 3 is 18. Cross multiply. 3 times 5 is 15. 6 times 1 is 6. Step 3, subtract. 15 minus 6 is 9. And again, step 4 in this case is necessary because that is not in its simplest form. Now it's not even on top and bottom, but I do know that 3 goes into both of those. But if I look closely, I can see that 9 is half of 18, so 9 actually goes into both of those. 9 divided by 9, is 1. And 18 divided by 9 is 2. So my answer is, final answer is 1/2.